Hello, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Papa Bear. It's time to have another discussion about what it means to be a father. We've had videos of the last few weeks. It's been almost 3 months now, and it's been interesting. The discussions have been quite interesting. I've gotten quite a lot of interesting feedback. But today I want to tackle something that I consider to be a little bit controversial. But I think it's something I want to address just briefly, just from my perspective, and it's that issue of the boy child. We've had this phrase that the boy child is under siege, that the boy child is endangered, that a lot of attention is given to the girl child, and that the boy child is neglected or ignored. So I just wanted to address that from my perspective. And there's a couple of things that, come to mind when I think about that. Number one, I think that there's an element of truth to that, the boy child really is neglected. And I don't think it's deliberate. I don't think people choose girls over boys in terms of the attention that's given. I think what we lack is male role models who boys can look up to. And because of that, we have a number of boys who are growing up or who've grown up without fathers, without father figures, without men who they can look up to, men who they can emulate, men who they can talk to and share their issues with. And that to me is really the big problem. I think as a result of that, we have a lot of boy children, for lack of a better word, who've grown up to become men children, or the ManChild, which to me is the bigger problem. We have a lot of boys who are boys, and because they are little children, there's a certain way they behave, and that's just who they are. But the problem is that those boys end up doing the same things when they are men, and they become men children, and that is a bigger problem. And men children are many. There are many ways. There are many ways they show who they are. I think there's a lot of people who do not take responsibility for the things that they do. There's a lot of men who bail whenever they hear that they knock somebody up, and they just walk away. And that's man-child behavior, which is really unfortunate. I think we need to style up. We need to up our game in terms of how we react to situations, in terms of how we behave. We need to stop throwing tantrums all the time that, this thing didn't happen my way, and you're still moping around 6 months later, 1 year later. We just need to be able to dust ourselves off and move on. I think that's one aspect of manhood, masculinity, of fatherhood, which we need to learn as men, as fathers. And we need to teach these things to our sons. So one of the challenges that we have is that there are too many men out there who are ready to walk away from responsibility. And that's a problem. And we need to address that. We need to deal with that. So the epidemic of the man-child, to me, is a bigger problem. What can we do to get more men to take their responsibility seriously and to do right by the people who they interact with, by their wives and by their girlfriends? That is the real issue, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of power in coming together, and I've seen that work with women. Women have the ability and the desire to work together and to come together around certain issues, and as a result, the girls growing up are growing up at a better place than the boys, because they are watching their mothers who are powerful, who are resilient, who have put up with a lot of crap that have been given to them by their husbands, and by life generally. And as a result, girls are growing up with a good example of resilience, of strength, of power, what it means to be strong and responsible. Men don't have the same. I think we as men have been given the impression that life will be easy for us because we're men. And I think our girls are given a different impression that because they're women, because they're girls, life is going to be that little bit harder. And as a result, they have to work harder, they have to be stronger, they have to be brighter, they have to be more intelligent, they have to be faster, they have to do more than their male counterparts. And so our girls, my peers, the generation that's following us, have this general impression that they need to do more, they need to be better. And that's showing. You look around and you see how how much progress has been made by women all around. You look around at leadership all over. I mean, there's a lot more female leadership than there was before, and I think that's because of that thinking around what it takes to be a woman in this day and age and in this life. And unfortunately for us men, we've been left behind because we've been given this impression that, you're a guy, so you don't have to work that hard. You don't have to do so much. You will get whatever you need, and that's really to our discredit. And it's showing. And I think that, bringing this back down to around to the whole fatherhood dynamic, that as fathers, I think that's something that we need to change. I think we need to continue to encourage our girls, our daughters to remember that they need to be strong, they need to be resilient, and they're going to have a lot of stuff thrown their way, that it's still a man's world, and they need to do they need to do more, they need to be stronger in order to survive. We need to keep our girls thinking that, but we also need to challenge our boys, our sons, that just because you're a man doesn't mean that life is going to go your way, and that we're going to be overtaken. You're going to end up being left behind if you do not take your responsibilities as a man seriously. And if you do not do what you need to do, right? And just suck it up, deal with it. If you have an issue, deal with it. If you have a problem or if something has not gone your way, mope for a couple of minutes, dust yourself off, and get back on the bandwagon. We can't have this thing of guys throwing tantrums for 5 years because the girl did not marry him. So now suddenly he's no longer interested in parenting that child. I mean, it's childish, really. So, guys, my challenge to us as fathers is, let's be proactive. Let's teach our boys what it means to be a man. Let's teach our girls what it means to be a woman. Yeah? And let's not have this boy-child dynamic. Let's not have this man-child pandemic that's been happening over the last few years. Let's get more men out there. Let's teach our sons, our children, to be men, not men-children. And let's stop thinking that women are against us, or that it's about us versus them, or that we're under siege. We're not under siege. We just need to style up, get our game together, and we'll be able to survive and to go through this life successfully. So that's my 2 cents on this issue. Please let me know what you think. If you have any comments, if you disagree with me, just let me know. Give your feedback at the bottom of this video, like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and let's get this conversation going. Cheers.